I appreciate, thank everyone for coming out this afternoon. We are now having our transition meetings for the community, for our students, our staff, everyone to be aware of what's going to happen in the near future when the consolidation is actually complete and we start school in the fall. Also, we also take feedback. So at any point, at the end of each session, if you have any questions, comments, or anything, please let us know because we want to make sure that we answer those. If we don't have the answer, we want to make sure that we get back to you with the answer. Tonight is about high school 7th and 8th grade scheduling, so like coursework, course offerings, and things like that. Also, tonight is about transportation. Ms. Dana is going to talk a little bit about transportation, how kids are going to get to and from school. And then we also have Mr. Dwayne with facilities to let you all know what adjustments need to be made as it relates to facilities are concerned. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jessica. She's going to start this meeting off with the process as it relates to schedule proposals and things like that. So Ms. Silva.
Good evening. So we are working on developing the 7th and 8th grade schedule proposals. So of course that is nothing that happens overnight, but the work has been in place and we are in the process of finalizing it. So as you know, we began way back in September of 2023, you may not know, researching and planning for a potential consolidation. Our district team developed a proposal and presented it to the board in February of 2024. The board voted to work with a consultant. We continued documenting our ideas and pre-planning any next steps for future preparation in case there was a restructuring, but until we knew exactly what it was going to look like, it was very difficult to move forward. So from that point, you know, the vote was made to consolidate a 7-12 high school on January 15th. On the 17th, which was just 2 days later, because we had meetings set up for other things on the 16th, the planning steps to implement it began. So the next steps we've done for planning 7th and 8th grade schedules, we've collaborated district and school level teams. The first being the initial planning meeting that happened on January 27th. It was originally planned for January 22nd, but due to snow, it got pushed back to first thing Monday morning, the week after we were closed for the snow. It was myself and the high school level team. We discussed elective options for 7th through 12th grade. I shared the planning steps with them, how this was going to roll out. And we started developing a plan to survey the students, teachers, and administrators at the middle school level. From the Monday, January 27th, until our next meeting on Friday, January 31st, we worked individually and in small groups, like the counselors might have gotten together. Myself and one counselor or an administrator have gotten together to just keep working. We also had several live documents that any of us could add information throughout the week. On the 31st, we reviewed our research that we had done prior or during the week on other 7th through 12th grade schools, the course options. We reviewed Bulletin 741 because everything that is driven curriculum-wise is in Bulletin 741. So some things we thought maybe we could offer as a 7th or 8th grade elective. Bulletin 741 said, no, it has to happen through 9th through 12th grade. I'm gonna give you an example. One of the topics we had was PE. Could PE be a 7th grade Carnegie unit or an 8th grade Carnegie unit? The answer is no, because of Bulletin 741, which is the state policy. That's not Assumption Parish School Board policy. Health could be. So we're ironing out all those logistics. Our initial focus of our meetings were our 7th and 8th grade electives and planning steps we planned the steps for upcoming principals meetings and informational meetings. On January 29th, we shared the steps with all of our district level principals, how elective options would be developed, and the middle school portion with the surveys, what would be their responsibility, and we shared the entire planning process for 7th through 12th grade with them. On the 31st, I met again with AHS administration and guidance. We reviewed the electives and clubs options to create the survey for students and staff. We developed that Google form to send out to students, teachers, and administrators. That form was presented to our district core team for their feedback and input on Monday morning, February 3rd, and it was then sent out to the schools. So we developed it, our target groups for the survey. One was sent out to all 6th through 8th grade students. Now, the 8th graders who are going to be 9th graders, their schedule proposal is going to look like a 9th grade proposal. However, when you think about it, it is February. Does a 6th grader, it's February of a school year, does a current 6th grader really know what they may or may not be interested in 8th grade? Probably not. But a current 8th grader would know what an 8th grader would be interested in 8th grade. So that is why we chose to include the 8th graders in our survey. We also, all middle school teachers and middle school administrators, and I put 5th through 8th grade because Pierre Part is pre-K to 8, but they are 5th through 8th grade teachers and their administrators were also surveyed. We sent it to the principals on Monday afternoon. They began sharing it on Tuesday with their students and staff, and we're asking it to be completed. I'm sorry, it says February 4th. That should have been, oh no, it was sent to them on February 4th. We're asking it to be completed tomorrow, which is February 6th. I already have some preliminary data that I'm going to share with you. So once we get all the data, we're going to analyze the data to identify what are the main student interests to make sure that we give them elective offerings and extracurricular opportunities that they want, not what we want, but what the kids actually want. So our objective is to use the data analysis to develop the schedule proposals for 7th and 8th graders based on student interest. The clicker's not working. It's small, but this is our preliminary survey results, and it's a live link, so if somebody completes it right now, the number's going to change from 291 to 292. So currently we have 291 students who responded. And you can see this is the list we gave them to choose from that they may be interested in: art, drama and theater, introduction to music, band, keyboarding, facts, and we kind of had it stepped out. It could be home ec, it could be sewing, cooking, things like that, life planning, agriculture, carpentry, horticulture, robotics, engineering, science labs, animal science, foreign language, GT, weightlifting, public speaking, media broadcasting, computer literacy, JAG, which is Jobs for America's Graduates, that we did have in middle schools a while back, kind of bringing that back, and some introduction to an Army JROTC, because that's the program we have at the high school. So you can see, surprisingly, right now in the lead is facts, home economics. I was shocked by this data. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't think a lot of kids would be interested in this right now, but they are. Engineering is big, weightlifting is big, art is big. So we're starting to see what they're interested in. In addition to what they're interested in, they had, that we gave them to check a box, we also had an open-ended question where they could say, what else that's not in this list that I like? I shared with Ms. Kathy, one student was very blunt and said, I don't like math, I'm not good at it, so pretty much anything but math. But I love the truth out of it. So some additional things, of course, athletics. We didn't put that on there because it was extracurricular. I mean, it was academic electives we were polling for, but of course they're interested in athletics and they'll have those opportunities. Some of the other things were shop, like welding and carpentry. As you know, that's a concern at younger grade levels, so maybe some simple things we could put in, but not really going into a welding class or a shop class at that age. There are some restrictions as well. Creative writing, science, like they wanted to learn different science topics, not necessarily the science curriculum that they currently have. Other social studies topics, historical things about museums, one of them put, fashion and design, cosmetology. They were interested in medical things, CPR, EMR, which is a emergency medical responder. They also put like athletic training, like being a assistant with that. Law enforcement, of course, they want their clubs, student council, beta, and 4-H, which they will have those opportunities. But again, we were searching for electives and any other clubs that we might not already have in place that they may be interested in. So basically, a 7th and 8th grade schedule proposal is going to be similar to what they have now, but with an elective option. So 2 periods, we think we are proposing the schedule to be an 8-period day, 2 periods of English, 2 periods of math, 1 period of social studies, 1 period of science, 1 period of PE/health, they're combined, and then 1 elective. That elective could be an exploratory elective, just a regular old middle school elective, or a high school credit elective. Mainly, that'll be your 8th graders. What we looked at as a team for 7th grade, that exploratory elective, or if they're interested in something like being in the marching band, of course, they would need to take band as their elective. But the exploratory elective gives them the option to choose. If you look at the list and the kids' responses, they chose a bunch of different things because they're interested in a lot and they're unsure of what they want to do. So building an exploratory elective would allow them to have 4 choices. So I might have this 9 weeks, I might be learning drama. The next 9 weeks, I might be in engineering. The next 9 weeks, I might be in creative writing. Then I might be in horticulture. It gives them more options and opportunities to learn. Now, we also have to provide interventions for our students who are struggling. So your first 9 weeks might be interventions, and if we can work with you to get you on level, then the second 9 weeks becomes your choice.
That's great. Yeah.
So you can still do both. That is the work that the high school guidance department, administrative team, and our district team, it's a collaborative effort. The way we're getting input from our middle schools is through the survey, but also the principals are communicating in different ways with questions, concerns. We have meetings with them as well. As we develop the elective options, it's going to be based on the areas of high student interest. If I only have 2 kids interested, it's going to be hard to make a class. Okay, so I have to have at least enough interest to make a class section of it. That's why we say the highest student interest. Other areas of interest that we can't make an elective course could potentially become a club or another type of extracurricular activity. I explained, I would jump the gun with the exploratory elective. That's what I was just talking to you about. As a 7th grader, that'll more than likely be what they'll have 4 choices, 1 to 9 weeks. As an 8th grader, I can go with a full elective because I decided in 7th grade what I'm really interested in. Or I can take another year of exploratory and learn 4 new things or advance in the 4 things I learned about in 7th grade. So different options. Once the schedule proposals are fully developed, our plan is to have informational meetings to target the current 6th and 7th grade parents and students, to share schedule proposals with elective options and provide detailed information on the elective options. When I say provide detailed information on elective options, if I say facts, you may not know what we're talking about. If I say JAG, even if I say Jobs for America's Graduate, it's skills, it's job skills. So we'll give more detailed information on what each elective would look like so the students can make a quality choice and they're not just choosing off of a title. And then we'll provide scheduling support similar to what the high school currently does right now with FAFSA nights. FAFSA is the financial aid application. We have several nights that parents can come in, use our devices, and we support them in filling out the application aligned with Career Compass, but this would be with our scheduling team. The other thing we're going to do, we are looking into completing the schedule selection in J Campus to where when the parents put it in, it'll just expedite the process to where when the parents and students click their choices, it builds it into our audit versus seat request list. So it'll be live data and we're not waiting on a person to take a paper copy and put it into a computer. It'll automatically go filtered in. It'll kind of expedite our process. That information is then used to determine how many sections of courses are needed in the master schedule. So if you have 150 kids who are interested and you're doing 25 kids in a section, that's 6 sections we need of that course. Does that make sense? So that's how you build a master schedule. Once all that information is in, we go with the final steps. We build the master schedule for the high school, 7th through 12th grade, what it would look like. We add teachers to the master schedule, which means I have 6 sections of this class. Who's teaching it? This teacher. And then from that, we build the students. We run the students, and then we get the student schedules. It is a time-consuming process. We do it every year with 9th through 12th. We're going to mimic the same process with 7th and 8th. So it's not a whole new plan. It's just filtering the plan down, but making sure we have good options for our kids. That's where we are right now.
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions as it relates to anything that Ms. Thibodeau talked about, or is something that we need to bring forward in the next session? Any questions or suggestions? Yes, ma'am.
I was interested in this, I think it's called Jumpstart.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is that part of it?
So Jumpstart is a pathway. So it's, you either take a Topps University pathway or a Jumpstart pathway to graduate. So yes and no. You really don't start, you could if you take a high school elective, like if you take Quest for Success as an 8th grader, that's a Jumpstart pathway elective, or it could be a Topps University elective. It could go either way. But by the elective choices we're coming up with, some of them will lead them potentially into a Jumpstart pathway. If that's what they may determine from the courses they take, oh, I would like to do this. So it would guide them to a Jumpstart pathway. But the Jumpstart decision is typically made by a 10th grade and their family. That's when you decide if you're going to go and get a Topps University diploma or a Topps Tech diploma.
Could you tell the parents and family members currently right now the options that we have as far as industry-based certification in the Jumpstart pathway?
So currently we have construction and manufacturing, which is carpentry and welding, basically. We have business, customer service, things like that. We have health sciences, and they can get a, we just had some kids celebrated at the pep rally last week. They get EKG certification, they can get phlebotomy certifications, and patient care technician. We're potentially moving to certified medical assistant. And we also have the hospitality and tourism pathway. So those are the pathways they currently have. However, they change based on the state requirements and student interest. So if I'm a student, if we have a large number of students interested in a pathway we don't have, we have to look at creating a pathway for them to graduate. But like I said, if it's just 2 or 3, it might be an online elective that they take in an ABS lab, where they just learn about it online because we don't have enough to fill a class section.
I think what's good about earning your industry-based certification while at Assumption High School, it's all free of charge. We pay for everything, we pay for all the certifications, all the coursework, if it's Zoom enrollment, we pay for that. Also, I want to mention, as it relates to the coursework for courses for 7th and 8th grade, we're going to create in this process, we're creating a true honors program, a true honors track. So for our very high-performing kids, we want to make sure that we provide them the courses they need so they can continue to excel. And also for our teachers, because it's difficult when you have a high-performing kid and a low-performing kid in the same classroom. Where do you go as a teacher? Because you have to lift the low-performing kid up, but also you have to take time to excel the high-performing kid. But if we could get a true honors track, which we will, put in place, then those high-performing kids can stay on track together and they can excel. It's easier for the teacher to teach when you have a lot of kids closer for as academic levels are concerned. And then that would give us a real good chance for our low-performing kids to really put some interventions in where our high-performing kids may not need that.
And you can accelerate, like 8th graders who meet the pupil progression requirements will be able to take potentially Algebra 1 in 8th grade, which is a high school quantity, English 1 in 8th grade. So that gives them more dual enrollment college options when they're in 12th grade. So they can get more free college opportunities before they graduate from high school, or internships, different things like that. So there's a lot that goes into high school. I'm sure that'll be some more things that I'll be explaining, like how all of this work is gonna progress into that a little bit more.
The block schedule like y'all do now?
So 9th through 12th is doing a 4x4 block, but the 7th and 8th graders will be on an 8-period day. So they'll have the classes all year long.
Oh,
With the exception of, like I said, the exploratory elective could be that, let's say their exploratory elective is at 6th period. This 9-week 6th period might be going to this class. Next 9 weeks, it could be different, but we also understand that there are some classes, like if I'm a member of the marching band, I have to be in band all year long, so my all 4 9 weeks will be band. It won't be a STEM class or an engineering class or introduction to agriculture. It'll be marching band or band.
Jessica, how will they be graded on those exploratory electives?
It'll be coursework designed, assignments. It can be project-based. It can be different activities. I don't foresee those being assessments.
But if you change every 9 weeks,
You would just get it might just be, we haven't come up with the exact grading, but it would be, the class is called exploratory elective. So that is what stays on their report card. And so I would get a different grade every 9 weeks for exploratory elective based on what class I'm in that 9 weeks from that teacher. But it's exploratory elective is what it would be called. It wouldn't be called something different every 9 weeks, if that makes sense. To where it would be a combined grade.
And that grade, well, yeah, you will combine the grade at the end of the 9 weeks. So they're taking STEM for the first 9 weeks, they're taking band for the second 9 weeks, they're taking culinary for the next, so you just combine them all just like we normally do now.
so you'll have more than one class? Because if I'm in STEM all year and you just taking it for this 9 weeks, how do we compare?
We close out at the end of each 9 weeks. So then, at that point.
So you just have to catch up with the other kids got already?
No, ma'am. It's going to be, each 9 weeks is a new class section starting. So you choose 4 options. So you wouldn't necessarily have STEM first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks, third 9 weeks, fourth 9 weeks. You might have something different each 9 weeks.
Except when you like your band. The band will be always.
We're not gonna have them, we're not gonna have.
Not progressive.
The same kid, so like, let's say we have a lot of kids that want a double STEM class. So like, one 9 weeks would be these activities and projects, the next 9 weeks would be different activities and projects. It would, I understand what you're saying. It's not gonna be like, I didn't start till the third 9 weeks, so I'm behind. No, it's a whole new,
Okay.
it's a whole new design.
All right, thank you.
It's a section, you know.
Does that answer your question?
Any other questions before we move on to transportation? And if you feel free to email myself, Ms. Thibodeau, any one of our board members, because we definitely want to make sure we get as much information out to the public as possible. And also, if there's any suggestions, we definitely will take those in as well. Thank you, Ms. Thibodeau. I really appreciate the high school council. They're not here, but they really worked extremely hard. Dr. Crochet and his team, as well as everyone else between the central office staff as well as the principals. Thank you all for working extremely
And
hard.
we're allowing the kids to help us guide this work based on what they're interested in, because that's how high school schedules work. If the kids' interests develop the high school schedules, we're trying to use the same process for our 7th and 8th graders, our incoming 7th and 8th graders.
Well, and a copy of Ms. Thibodeau too, you know, one of the advantages of this is we're providing more opportunities like we said we were. If you had 5 kids at each school that wanted to do something, now we have 20 kids that we can fill a section with, and they're able to access that program and then progress into the high school with it too, so.
And you have been working on this since September or whatever, right? You have never not thought about it?
I have, you can call my husband and see how many times he wakes up in the middle of the night and says, what are you doing? Once we started realizing that at some point a restructuring was gonna happen, the wheels have not stopped and documents have been live, chart paper, we pulled out chart paper he didn't even realize some of us had worked on, because we didn't, any minute we had that we weren't doing our other jobs, that we could focus, it might have been 5 o'clock at night, we were still here, some of us, we were, okay, when and if this happens, how are we gonna make it work? but you can't really turn it into reality until you know exactly, because it would have looked different. It would have looked different if we'd have had them, sixth, seventh, and eighth grade at another site, or sixth and seventh grade at another site, or just eighth grade. Every route you would have taken, every different consideration would have made us go a different route. But we had some things that were generic or just ideas that we kept coming up with that we knew in the event this happens this way, we want to try this. I can tell you since probably August of 2023, which is about when I started in this position, Dr. B brought up the idea of English 1 and Algebra 1. I said, when eighth graders hit Assumption High School's campus, that is one of the first things I want to make happen. So I knew that when I was the high school principal. I knew if I ever got those kids, some things that I would like to see
Yeah.
for them.
I like your answer. I'm not gonna kid you. When we met the Monday before, and y'all said, no plan, no, we're not doing anything, I had serious concerns, but I'm happy you being honest with
There
me.
was no formal plan, I
No,
guess
but you knew
was the
something was
answer.
going on.
But I knew something had to happen
Thank you.
eventually, and I'm not that person that can just let it wait till the last second.
Yeah.
So, you're welcome.
Yeah. I don't know. I think talking to y'all through the whole process since we first, Ms. Thibodeau said since 2023, we know, at least, I've been in contact with y'all. We know y'all been thinking about this and your heads have been racking and you've been together and making sure that when we actually made it a call that y'all were running with it and get it done. And it sounds like y'all are running. So, yeah.
So this is Ms. Dana. We're going to transition to transportation. So she's going to explain to everyone how what time we're going to pick up the kids, what time kids are going to get dropped off, and in reverse, what time are we going to pick up the kids from the high school and then dropped off at home. So pick up at home to the school, and then from the school to home. Ms. Dana?
And this is a short presentation, hopefully you can answer some of the questions that you may have, and this is what we've been working on in our department.
I can't hear her.
I think it's being streamed live.
Hopefully we can answer some of your questions. This is a map that, y'all can hear me? This is a map that I created, and, it only shows you the areas. What I did was we divided, each area. This is our district map, and it shows how we're gonna layer the buses in a domino effect to make it work for our upcoming school year. If you look at the Pierpont area, we have 3 buses that's gonna be going to the high school. So the yellow will be your first bus, your purple will be your second bus, and your green will be your third bus. So this is how we're gonna have buses rolling out from each area in a domino effect. Okay, in our Pierpont area, we have 3 buses, will be allocated for the Assumption High School. Bus 1 will be from Page Lane to Mike Street, including Shell Beach Road. Bus 2 will be from Mike Street to South Bay Road. And bus 3 will cover areas from North Bay Road to the top of Highway 7, including Bayou Drive and Lee Drive. Now, all these buses will start no earlier than 6 a.m. and will begin arriving at Assumption High between the times of 6:40 a.m. and 6:55 a.m. Bus 1, it will take bus 1 approximately 45 to 50 minutes to pick their kids up and get to the school. Now, we have a 5 to 7 minute delay in this time, we have actual stop in this time, and we have miles in this time. After we get all the enrollments and who all's gonna ride the bus and who's not gonna be the bus, this time may shorten. For bus 2, about approximately 40 to 45 minutes. Bus 3, about 35 to 45 minutes. And prior to school start, we will send out a call out by street, letting you know what time your bus is gonna come. Like if you live on Page Lane, you'll get a call out saying the bus will be on Page Lane at 6:15. So we're gonna work on that, during the next few months. Our next area is our Bell Road. Bell Road will have 4 buses that service the Bell Road area. We have 2 buses that's gonna be on Highway 1, 2 buses will be on 308. Bus 1 will be from Belterra to Sweet Home. Bus 2 will be from Sweet Home to Highway 70. including, including parts on Highway 7. Bus 3 will start from Rackapack Lane to Highway 1000, including Highway 998 and Highway 996. Bus 4 will start from Highway 1000 to Spur 70 intersection. All of these buses will pick up no earlier than 6 a.m. and will begin arriving at Assumption High between 6:40 and 6:55. Bus 1 and 3, estimated ride time between 40 to 50 minutes. Bus 2 and 4, estimated ride time is between 35 minutes to 40 minutes. And also, like before, each street, do a call out before school starts, letting you know what time your street will be picked up. The Napoleonville area, you have 6 buses that will service the Napoleonville area. Bus 1 will start from Highway 70 to Mingay Street. Bus 2 will start from Monet Street to Napoleonville Middle. Bus 3 will do the downtown Napoleonville area. Bus 4 will be from the back of the town to the lake, including Marshall Lane. Bus 5 will be from Highway 308 and Highway 1 from the downtown bridge to Highway 1010 bridge. Bus 6 will be from the Assumption Highway 308 and all the way up to Highway 70. And all of these buses are going to start at 6:50 a.m. and arrive at the high school between 6:40 and 6:50 a.m. The approximate ride time will be for buses 1, 2, 4 is about 35 minutes. The approximate ride time for bus 3 is about 20 minutes, and the approximate ride time for bus 5 and 6 is 30 to 40 minutes. For our Lavelyville area, we will have 5 buses serving the Lavelyville area. Bus 1 will start at the parish line all the way up to Locust Road. Bus 2 will go from Highway 398 and the back portion of Lavelyville, which is North Highway, South Highway, Deliche Road, and Highway 1011. Bus 3 will do Highway 1, starting from Highway 398 to Highway 400, including Supreme Road. Bus 4 will be from Highway 400, the Highway 400 area, and Highway 1 up to Napoleonville line. Bus 5 will be Highway 308 from the parish line to the Napoleonville line. All of these buses will start around 6:15, and they're going to start arriving at Assumption High between 6:40 and 6:55. Each route is configured with a run time of no longer than 35 minutes. The PM runs for all of these routes will be almost the approximate times as the AM. The PM runs, estimating will be a little shorter because kids will have other activities, so we won't have as many stops in the PM. And also prior to school start, we're going to send out street times to get it as close as possible. All of the stuff that you see now are just estimates. Some of these routes may have to change depending on what street your student lives on, your kid lives on. And for the Bayou Lewis area, we're going to have 3 buses service in the Bayou Lewis area. Bus 1 will be from the McDermott all the way to Highway 663, including up to Morrell Street. Bus 2 will start at Omino Road, which is Highway 662, up to Country Village Drive. Then we're going to have bus 3 start from Cecilia Street to Landry Court, which is the Airsteel Road. All of these buses are going to start off at 6 o'clock, and they're going to try to get to the high school between 6:45 and 6:55 a.m. Bus 1 will take approximately 50 minutes, bus 2, 45 minutes, bus 3, 45 minutes, and we will give a street call-out message to the parents. So, if you have any questions, you can call the transportation department, and I can get more into detail about the stops and any other questions you may have.
Ms. Dina, I have a question. How many buses do we have in our fleet right now?
We have 17 that go to the high school. We have 4 sped buses, and we have 1 school choice bus. So we have between 28, but we should have about 28 buses total in our fleet.
And how many bus drivers do we have available?
How many bus drivers? We have a bus driver for each route, for each bus.
Because I see we have 3 that resigned this past week or this month or left.
I only had 1 bus driver that resigned last month.
in our report to
The
have
report
3.
says 3. Report.
That report was over a 2-month span. It was from the December meeting, so December, August, December, and January. But we do have replacements she was able to find. Some have elected to be sub-drivers, and they drive morning and afternoon because they have jobs in the middle of the day. But we're offered positions, but some drivers have elected to be sub-drivers.
Okay, okay.
Also, as far as transportation, we need to make sure that all parents, make sure that we have the correct addresses in the system. Because J Campus, our current system where all of the student information is, feeds into our transportation system. So if the addresses are incorrect, we're not going to be able to route that particular child or that bus correctly. So we really strongly encouraging everyone to make sure if you move, or even just update to make sure you have the right and correct home address, and also pick up location and drop off location. Because some parents have a home address, but then their kids are picked up and dropped off at a different location than the home address. So we just asked everyone to make sure that that information is updated. And phone numbers as well. These are approximate numbers based on the number of kids we have. So if we have a decrease in students, these numbers will change. If we have an increase in students, these numbers will change. So I just want to make sure we preference that, because I don't want people saying, oh, you say you're supposed to get here at 6:15, but now it's 6:08. Why is it a change? Well, it's a change because the number of students on the buses or the routes may have changed as it relates to addresses. So I just want everybody to know that. We want to give you approximate numbers so you can get an idea of what we're going to present moving forward.
How about after-school activities, having transportation for after-school kids that have to stay for all of these activities?
We're working on providing transportation for after-school. Obviously, I would have to talk to the board, but our goal is to provide any of our middle school students staying after school to provide transportation. Yes, sir, Mr. Norman.
Ms. Dana, how many drivers are you going to have for the elementary school? Are you going to double the high school drivers that are going to go back and do elementary?
Yes, ma'am, like they do now.
I think Ms. Dana, something important you said too was some extra time is built into this plan that you're going to have.
I put in, miles, I put in delays,
Yep, that's
about 5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7 minutes on there too. I mean, we have to think of it like this as well. A transportation plan is if every driver shows up on time, the road conditions are great, the weather's great, because if I leave for work in the morning and I get caught at the train track or it's raining, it's going to take a little longer, maybe delayed. So we have a lot of people that call us and say the bus is 10 minutes late, or I'm like, well, it's fog this morning, like it's going to be a little later. So I want to make sure they have your contact so that if there's anything outside of that, that's our fault, that we take accountability for it if it's our fault. But this proposal, just like any transportation proposal, all the drivers have to show up, the roads have to be good, the buses all have to work, we have no mechanical problems. Things are gonna happen, here and there. My battery died on me last week at home, I had to change it. But this is how it's planned to work every day if everything is working correctly every day. So,
I also want to make an announcement. We are having a bus driver training course. So we have another course first week in March. So anyone that would like to be a bus driver, we will have those trainings and those course offerings starting in March, free of charge. We want to make sure, even if you just want to be a substitute, we definitely want to make sure that you take opportunity to do this work in our parish.
What time is this going to be held? 5 to 9.
Dr. B, question. I know we have a program in place that shows where the students are. We can get them logged in. Can you kind of give us an update on where we are with that and how that works?
So part of our transversal, our package, we have an app for our parents to be able to track the route of the bus. So if your child is on a school bus, you should be able to track the school bus and know exactly what time the child should arrive. If there are any delays, you should be able to see it on the app. Now, we did receive some feedback from our parents, because if there's a substitute on the bus, how do we track those buses? So we actually purchased some additional software. So now, even if we have a substitute driving a bus and it's not your normal bus driver or even your normal bus, the parents still would be able to track where that bus is at. So it's an app, and Ms. Dana probably going to talk a little bit more about that as we get closer to the beginning of the school year. But in addition to our transversal routing system, we have an app for our parents so they can see exactly where their child is at on the highway, on his or her way to or from school.
And I think Dana said the system's only as good as the information in it. So if she's building off of this, off of what's currently in their campus, so if people's information is incorrect, when she does those call outs to let them know what time your child potentially will be picked up, you won't get the call if your number's wrong, if your address is wrong. When she does calls to say that a bus driver's out, so it's gonna be a delayed route, or it's gonna be a double route, so just know, give the bus driver 5 to 10 minutes. She does those call outs, but it only calls you if your number's correct. So I just wanna,
And it also shows up on the app if a bus is delayed also.
And the last, before we close out, any other questions? Look, before we close out, I do have Mr. Dwayne in here, but I know he needs to speak to the board about facilities. But if you want to kind of give us a brief update of where we are, because we did have to make some renovations and adjustments to make this happen. So Mr. Dwayne Oakland, our maintenance supervisor, is going to kind of share some of that information with you.
Mine's gonna be short and sweet though. So we have some accommodations that have to be met being schools are being consolidated. Starting with Bayou Lewis, we're gonna have to add a minimum of 3 classrooms right now to accommodate the children being brought to that campus. We're gonna add a new set of restrooms there as well. So the 5th graders and 6th graders are not using the same restrooms as the younger kids. We're gonna, once we move those buildings in, we're gonna have to add ramps and covered walks. And then we'll be beginning that security project on that campus as well. Libertyville Middle, since we're taking primary kids and bringing them into a middle school, we're gonna have to create a Head Start classroom, which we're gonna take the old library classroom, the old library, and turn it into a classroom. So we're gonna create a playground behind it. So we're gonna cut out where one of the windows are, because it has to have a egress. So that egress will go into the playground. It'll be fenced in behind the school, so that'll keep those kids isolated from all other children. We're gonna fix the bathrooms in the back building, and we're just gonna change the fixtures and lower the fixtures for the smaller children, because the smaller children are gonna be in the back building. So we're just gonna remodel that bathroom for them. We're gonna create a second serving line and possibly a hand wash sink in that cafeteria to make it flow, because the smaller children, they say smaller children just take longer to go through the line. So we discussed having a second line to make things move a little faster. Belrose Primary, we're gonna remodel 2 bathrooms in the back building, same situation with the 5th and 6th graders. Now the kids come into the back of a pre-K building to use the restroom when they're out on the playground. So the 5th and 6th graders are not going into that building. We're gonna remodel 2 bathrooms that's there in the D building, which is the metal building in the back of the campus. And we're gonna remodel one of the classrooms in the back, and it can be used as a band room. So when there's band, it won't be in the building with the other kids disturbing class. They'll be off to the back of the campus. Napoleonville Primary, it's really the 2-story building. We've done some work in that before, knowing this was coming. So we're just gonna go in and check all electrical, the HVAC, all of the lighting in that building was new with the lighting upgrade we done. So that building's in very good shape. It's just gonna be a little TLC, cleaning there, remodeling, like cleaning up the bathroom, checking the fixtures, make sure everything functions in that building. And then I've already been in contact with a company. We're gonna figure out the logistics of moving everybody with the company. So we're gonna come in and we're gonna plan everything from A to B, where everything's gonna go. And we're gonna have everything packed up at the end of school. So when we make the move, yes, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy, but it's gonna be simple if we have a plan. So we're gonna go in and move all of Libertyville Middle out and move the primary in. So that's gonna be our largest one. And the rest of them not gonna be that hard, because we're only gonna be moving 7th and 8th grade to the high school and 5th and 6th into the other primaries.
Dwayne, I know in the report, in CSRS's report, every school had AC problems. What's going to happen with Bayou Lewis and Libertyville, because you don't have that listed? Are y'all, is that corrected already?
Every school has AC problem because they break on a daily basis. I mean, we have over 800 and something pieces of refrigerated equipment.
But if you check the report from CSRS, it's major problems in each school. So Bayou Lewis and Libertyville don't have that problem anymore?
So Libertyville Middle School, their HVAC system is up and running, it's repaired, there's no major problems there. The major problem Libertyville Middle had was their boiler was down. So I moved another boiler in there in one of my future HVAC projects. What I'm trying to do, like I told y'all before, I'm trying to get rid of all the boiler systems and all the gas lines running through our schools and just have gas only in our cafeterias. We don't need gas lines all over our campuses. So that's going to be an upgrade if approved by the board. There's going to be a lot of HVAC upgrades. I mean, we are way behind on HVAC upgrades.
I agree.
I mean, so I've been here 30 years, worked on HVAC for 22 years, and always wondered when we was going to start a rotation. But now that Dr. B's coming, y'all been approving projects. I mean, we can do as many HVAC projects as y'all willing to do.
Yeah, I think that's your plan, right?
That
Keep
is.
asking us to spend the money that we
Been
have
my
to do it,
plan
right?
for a
Yeah.
long time. I just need, once they approve,
Yeah.
we can do as many as y'all want. Pierreport's going to be getting a new HVAC system in their French Hall. They call it the French Hall. So they're going to be getting a new HVAC system there. The B building's getting one at the high school. So we are moving with HVAC. So
No, I was just wondering, because it
No,
was in
it's-
the report and it's not on this.
the
one.
problem Bayou Lewis had was the systems they have on those wall pack units. It's hard to get away from them because of the way they're designed. So we've attempted to put in, it's a VRF system. It's a mini split system like we put in regular classrooms, and that has worked. So I think we're gonna move that way. So, I mean, but that is the plan to move on, but it's just HVAC equipment is very hard. It's not very hard to get. It's just if you don't have it in stock and you have to order it, maybe weeks, and that's a long time for a classroom. And Bayou Lewis, the problem they had there was they didn't have an extra room to move into.
We have a good fund balance in our air conditioning fund, don't we?
Yes.
So we can move and do more work on our air conditioners at
I
this
have no
time.
problem with that, Ms. Dot. No
We've been
problem at
discussing
all.
that
We
for
can
a
do as
year.
many as you all would like, as fast as you all would like.
Absolutely.
Okay? Any questions?
You said that this is gonna happen this school year coming, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said the two-story building at Pioneer and Cornville is all good and safe. I'm not sure I remember now, does the top floor have a railing?
The pipe rail steel? No, it doesn't.
No, I mean, like, it has something, a barrier, so that nobody can fall off.
So I don't know the last time you seen it, because I remember going there. My son was up there in second grade, and he's sitting with his feet swinging from upstairs, and he's like hollering, "Hey, Daddy," and I'm like, "Hey, you can't hang off of that." But no, the wall has been built. There is a wall there, so the kids cannot hang off of that. So I,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
any other questions?
I want to also, I want to bring our attention to our next meeting, public meeting, will be March 12th of next month. We're going to talk about special education, child nutrition, and we're going to talk about a day in the life of a 7th and 8th grader at the high school. So we're trying to make sure that we ensure that our kids are going to be safe. We want to make sure that our parents know that we're going to take extra care of those kids, and the board, my office, we're going to put as many resources in that school as possible to make sure that that transition is done to the level of our expectation, as well as the schools and the parents and the board. On April 16th, we're going to talk about athletics, talk about extracurricular and co-curricular activities. Also, we should have some information as it relates to personnel. And extracurricular, co-curricular, we're talking about clubs as well, not just football, basketball, but also clubs. And then May 21st, we're going to make our final preparations and any updates from any previous session. Because if we get more information, and we might, someone may say, have they tried this? And we look at it and it may be a better option, then obviously we need to go with the better option. But that's kind of like our tentative dates, that we're gonna have more of these, and we encourage more people to come out and listen, and also interact, to make sure that we answer as many questions as possible, but also get the information out. So at this time, I wanna thank, yes, ma'am.
Where the seventh and eighth graders will be housed at the high school?
The 7th and 8th grade is going to be housed at the high school in the N building, which is the 9th grade academy, as well as the A building that we just renovated.
And that's on the other side?
That's on the other side. So you have the N building, the A building, and then you have the gym where the kids would go to PE. So it's kind of like all along that same path that they would travel. So that's what we're looking at to place the kids, which is an area where, and also I'll say this. We're not having school, kids will not be in classes with high school students. Kids will not be next to high school classes. So if I have an 8th grade math class, you're gonna have all 8th grade classes around those kids. We're not gonna have an 8th grade class in the middle of high school with 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders. We're trying our best to make sure that we keep those kids separated as much as we possibly can. So everybody now is the N building and the A building. And the A building was just renovated. Thank you all. Appreciate you all coming out tonight. We're going to get ready for our monthly board meeting. So thank you again, and we appreciate it. And if any feedback, please let us know. Thank you. Good job. Thank you.